By the end of this video, you're gonna understand how to stop hitting so many of those balls that are flying way over your head that you rise way up into the air and you hit that ball, then you turn to your partner and you say, think that one was out? And they say, yeah, it was definitely out. And you walk back to the baseline, head down thinking, why am I so bad at letting out balls go out? Well, I got some news for you. We all are. Let's dive in, because by the end of this, you won't be. See, the old shoulder high, let it fly is a nice line, but an incomplete thought. The problem is it's reactive. It doesn't take all factors into consideration that would allow you to really know if a ball's going out or not. Now, one thing to know before we get rocking. Amateurs think in absolutes, shoulder high, let it fly. Experts think in probabilities. And I'm gonna show you how to think like an expert so you can hit less out balls and win more points. So this journey, if you wish to proceed, will take you through 4 things to improve your ability to let out balls go out. Number 1, geometry, reactions and predictions, decisions and psychology. That's a wrap that I'm gonna keep going with biology. I got nothing. Okay, here we go. Number 1, geometry. The court is 20 feet by 44 feet. There's a kitchen line 7 feet away from the net. The diagonal distance from one corner to the other is 48 feet 4 inches. That's roughly 7 Shaquille O'Neals. The gist is the court's not that big. If you hit the ball back near the baseline, you have 44 feet to work with. But if you hit the ball from the kitchen, you only have 29 feet to work with. And it's worth noting many players at every level use baseline power at a kitchen distance. And if you just learn that, in addition to understanding the court's dimensions, you're already ahead of the game. Now, with that being said, it's still hard. It's hard to know which balls will fly out because a ball could be hit low and hard and go out, but a ball could also be hit high and soft and go in. So it's not the perfect science that shoulder high, let it fly leads you to believe. Remember, amateurs think in absolutes, experts think in probabilities. So with this understanding of the court's geometry, how do you truly make an informed decision in the heat of the moment to increase your probability of letting the ball go or not? You have to understand this concept of reaction versus prediction. And to do that, let's start with the concept of time. If you're at the baseline and they're at the kitchen, you have roughly this much time to make a decision. If you're at the midcourt and they're at the kitchen, you have roughly this much time to make a decision. And if you're at the kitchen and they're at the kitchen, you have roughly this much time to make a decision. The point is, after the ball is hit, you don't have much time to decide what to do next. All you can do is react. What you really want to do is move from a place of reaction to a place of prediction. So how do you do that? By understanding this concept of read and predict. Read and predict means you take in information before your opponent's shot is ever hit and after. That's the read. And then you make predictions based on that read. And of course, all this happens like that in less than a second. Now, I'd argue you fall into one of 3 categories when it comes to your ability to read and predict. Number 1, newbie. Number 2, amateur. And number 3, expert. Newbies, they don't read and predict. They subconsciously predetermine before the point ever starts, I'm hitting everything, because truthfully, that's all they know. Amateurs, they don't read. They only react after opponent contact is made. For example, they attempt to determine the speed and height of the ball only as it is flying at them. That gives them milliseconds for their brain to comprehend what's happening and make a choice based on that information. And like Liam Neeson was told over the phone in the movie Taken, good luck. It's not easy. That was weird. Experts read visual cues before opponent contact is made and after in order to predict the probability of what the opponent's shot outcome will be. And then they make a decision based on that prediction. So they read, then they predict, then they decide. So let's break some of these reads down. A before contact read requires you to observe and analyze this information. How deep in the court will the ball land? What's your opponent's court positioning? Are they back near the baseline? Are they in the mid-court area? Or are they up at the kitchen? How high does the ball bounce before your opponent hits? Are they hitting down on the ball or are they hitting up on the ball? What does their pre-shot footwork look like? Are they running full steam or are they slowing down for drop footwork? What's the length of their backswing before contact? A big backswing is a good indicator they're about to hit hard. A short backswing is often an indicator they're about to hit a third shot drop. And here's a bonus, call it number 6. K Y-O, know your opponent, and this is big. Is your opponent really bad at hitting with power, or do they hit like many of the pros who generate an absurd amount of topspin on many of their shots? And you might wonder, how do you know? Well, you observe your opponents either in warm-ups or early in the match to gather information that you can use later. And if you take all this information of before contact reads, and then you add the information of post-contact reads, meaning what you observe after your opponent makes contact with the ball, things like, what's the speed of the ball coming at you, what's the trajectory or height of the ball when it gets to you, then you can make better predictions on if the ball is flying out or not. Because remember, amateurs think in absolutes, shoulder high, let it fly. Experts think in probabilities. Now, this information does not guarantee you'll never hit another out ball. Trust me, you will. It's there to increase your probability that you don't keep hitting out balls you shouldn't hit. It's the whole shoot for the stars, land on the moon concept. Elimination is the goal, but reduction is the reality. Simply said, you're probably not going to eliminate all out balls forever, but you can reduce them with many of these principles. Now, to fully do that, you must understand one more thing: psychology. Meaning, you must understand the person on the other side of the net that you're competing against. So, number one, topspin versus power. At lower levels, and truthfully every level, players often prioritize power over topspin. So, if you understand that, you already know a lot of balls are flying out because remember, the court's not that big. Number two, the shake and bake dilemma. If someone gets a shake and bake on you, treat that as short-term bad news, long-term good news, because that one shake and bake will fire them up so much, they'll want that feeling again and again. And often that leads to them getting erratic, playing with even more power and making even more mistakes. Number three, your emotions. If you let a ball go and it goes in, you often think you have to hit the next ball because it'd be horrible if you let another ball go and then it went in and now you've let two balls go and they both went in. Everybody would hate you.
That's the second one. I hate playing with you. Just let balls go by you. That's two. Hit the ball. Loser.
You'd never be asked to play in that group again, right? No. Hear me on this. If you knew that 8 out of 10 of the exact same shot was going out, you'd probably react differently to those first 2 that went in. You'd use data, not emotion, to inform your future decisions on the court. Now, like every motivational speaker in the history of the world has ever said, if it was easy, everybody would do it. It's not easy. In fact, it's really hard. And if you're like, yeah, this is great, but how do I actually work on it? Well, you're asking the right questions. I'll show you how to take this information and turn it into application when you click this video right here. Enjoy.